It's very normal if you've noticed that your baby has been feeding well, but then all of a sudden they go on what seems to be a nursing strike, where they just don't want to nurse. They cry at the breast. They turn away when you try to latch them on. And of course, as a mother who wants to do everything they can for their baby and make sure that they're well nourished, this is frustrating and it can be a cause of anxiety. Usually these nursing strikes only last for a couple of days, and so hopefully if you notice that your baby is doing this, it will just pass with time. But there are many different things that can cause this, and you can look into different causes, maybe adjust a few things and help your baby overcome it. Sometimes it's because of nipple confusion. Like if a bottle is introduced too soon to a baby, they like the instant flow that comes from a bottle. And they don't like nursing because it takes work. You'll notice when you nurse your baby that they have to suck for at least a minute usually before the milk lets down. And when they get a bottle, it's instant flow. So sometimes they become lazy suckers, but there are things you can do to remedy that. So if you suspect that's an issue, talk with the lactation specialist and they can work with you. Sometimes they don't like the position that they're in. It's uncomfortable to them, or they prefer one side more than the other because of the position they're in when they're nursing. So you can try different positions, try adjusting your baby to help them feel more comfortable, and that might help. Sometimes babies can sense our stress and anxiety. So if we've had a change in routine and that's causing a change for them, or we're really stressed, they catch on to that. That can affect them and their emotions too. Sometimes it's as simple as the fact that you've changed lotions recently or detergents or something. It's made you smell different. And so that causes them to have a short-term aversion to breastfeeding. If that's the case, go back to your old products and see if it makes a difference. And still, there's other circumstances where maybe you've changed your diet and what you eat can affect the taste of your breast milk. So maybe you ate something for a couple of days that the baby just didn't like. So change up your diet a little bit and see if that helps. An important thing you can try is skin to skin prior to breastfeeding. So just put your baby's bare chest on your bare chest and let him sit there for a little while. And oftentimes this increased bonding time will make a baby naturally want to breastfeed again. When you introduce the breast, do so gently and try not to force it. And if your baby isn't responding well after about 10 minutes or gets super fussy, then stop what you're doing, because if they develop a frustration with it, then it can actually cause an aversion to breastfeeding, and you want to avoid that at all costs. Another thing you can try if your baby has been bottle feeding and breastfeeding, you're not worried about nipple confusion, is take the edge off of your baby's hunger before feeding them by giving them just a little bit of expressed breast milk or formula. Because if a baby's super hungry, then they may not eat well because they're frustrated. And so if you take the edge off, they may latch on more easily. Or try feeding them when they're a little drowsy, and then they may just not care. They'll take it because it's offered to them. The most important thing in all of this is that your baby's getting enough to eat. So if your baby is refusing to eat, the biggest concern is dehydration. You need to watch the number of wet diapers that your baby's having, and a baby that's getting enough to drink will have at least 6 wet diapers a day, and they'll gain the appropriate amount of weight over time. So hopefully this isn't a long-term issue, but if your baby in the short term is not eating well and this goes on for a couple of days, especially if you notice that they're showing other signs of illness, they're harder to console, maybe they're running a fever, they have respiratory symptoms, or maybe they're throwing up or having diarrhea. All of those things are reasons to call your pediatrician, and after asking you more specific questions, then they can also perform an exam on your baby and decide if anything needs to be done about it. If you have more questions for me in the future, please feel free to ask them on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Intermountain Moms, and recommend us to your friends and family too.